Hi, this is Prakash and you're watching me on Behindwoods.com. Well, Dhoni is a result of an anguish, helplessness, because I was watching my daughter going through her traumatic period when she was doing her 8th and 9th, preparing for the board exams, and my sister's son, and few of my friends' daughters, who are my daughter's friends. And it was, I reached a state, being an actor, being able to give what they want, and reading so much, and experienced in life so much, and being myself being a rebel without the system. It was very painful, and suddenly I observed my wife and them struggling, my sister struggling, and I realized that it's not only the children who are the victims, but the parents too, teachers too, the whole system. This was a burning issue, and I was very helpless and very disturbed, and that's when I came across a film called Shikshana Chago, a Marathi film by Mahesh Manjrekar, and the story took me and said, yeah, there is a format where I can make my anguish heard. So I took the rights, then we reworked on the script, and here it is in front of you. Dhoni is an icon. Dhoni is an icon. Dhoni is a horizon for today's generation, and this film could have been a story of a boy who wants to be a painter, who wants to be anything else, but because of the story he wants to be a cricketer, and his dream is want to be a Dhoni. So that's why the title, and it's catchy. It just grabs attention. At the same time, there is a reason behind in the story. That's why it's Dhoni. It's wonderful. It's something I have relished, enjoyed, relieved. That there was something within me, and it helped me to, reinvent myself. It was a great journey. Well, in today's scenario, it's more important to do pan-Indian films, and when I can reach the audience of 2 languages with my presence, for where I am popular and people expect me, because first film I did was in a Kannada film, and the whole Tamil audience and the Telugu audience were at my throat saying that why don't you do it with us, and because we have given you so much, and why don't you do a film. And this film, I thought I wanted to reach it wider, and business wise it is better. Let me be very honest with you, it works out with the budgets. We are working now today with a sort of costing of filmmaking which is happening today, and you end up doing 2 films with 1.5 the cost when you do a bilingual, and you have a wider market. Well, there is practical challenges of getting actors to get the 2 lines, because Tamil is a language and Telugu is a language, and every language has its own grammar, has its own idioms, has its own expressions, has its own concept of humor. So it is to have 2 different writers and get it written onto it, do the situation. Certain expressions, some places are exaggerated, some places are accepted, not accepted. There are a lot of local geographical sensitivities involved into it. So you really have to focus a lot and make, because the humor in Tamil may not work in Telugu, and an expression in Telugu may not work in Tamil. Like if we just say that, people who's around Godavari river belt, and if they say ni papam pandipoddi, once your sins are ripe. But whereas you come to a very waterless place, they say that when the sin gets into you too much, you will blast. So different way of geographical expressions are there. So we need to focus on all these things, and it's 2 different cultures. That's the challenges, but all you need is more work and more focus. Music is not just a big plus, it's 80% of the film. Because that's the magic that man can give, because To be very honest, I made a film with all thing and went and gave it to him, and what he has done is I am seeing at my own film in a different context altogether. And I never knew my film was so deep. He brought out so many things which was hidden in the film through his music. That's why I say, more than Raja sir being a support, being a great power, a source of energy, he is more of a blessing to me in this film. I think he's been a great blessing to all cinemas, basically. Yeah, boy, there was this called Akash, and it was a great challenge for me to cast an actor in that role, because it was a very sensitive role. And I wrote the film, and we were ready to make the film. And then I realized, how do I tell a story to a boy? Because it's more of a middle class film, and it's a big film, and it's a very intense film, and how do I narrate? Then I had this boy who is the son of a very popular director in Telugu called Puri Jagannath, who's been a friend, and there's a great journey between me and him. I've acted in almost all his films, and I've seen this kid growing up in front of me for the last 10, 12 years. So I called his father and I told him to get your son with me. I asked him, is he interested in acting? He said, yeah, he is very much interested in acting. Then I narrated to the father, and I had this boy next to him. And after the narration of the story, and I asked this boy, how do you like the story? And he said, you're telling my story. I said, what do you mean your story? He said, yeah, in your film that boy wants to be a cricketer and I want to be an actor, and my school doesn't give me holidays because he did an international film called some Pond, and they didn't let me go, and I missed so many good films because of that. And I saw a fire in him, I saw an urge in him, I saw a dream in his eyes, and I said, will you act in this film? And he said yes, and he's marvelous in the film. Radhika Apte, this was a very interesting role. There's a lot of mystery around this character, and I needed a fresh face, and I needed somebody who doesn't think of images and believe in this script. And I did approach few actresses, and they had their own reasons of their images and things like that. Then out of the blue, my writer had suggested it, and I had seen a glimpse of her in Rakta Charitra, and I did a study on her, and I couldn't trace her because she had gone to London School of Theatre. And by luck she came back. One day she picked up my phone and I told her. She came down. She's a Marathi actress, a very sensible person, and it's a very important key role she plays, and she's mind-blowing in the film. Nazar, I really appreciate him because he understood the film. He plays the role of a coach. It's more like King Solomon's judgment, like Valatavam Periyala, Petavam Periyala, and the person who really brings up the child is important too. He has understood my son more than me, so it is a very important role. An actor like Nazar's caliber and the presence of his image was very important to me, and he's done a major role in this film. There's a very surprise package, an actor called Murali Sharma, who's a theatre actor and who's settled in Mumbai, who's basically a Telugu guy, and he has a very interesting face, interesting height, and a very intense actor, and he's a very surprise package in this film. And then Brahmanandam, who's been a darling of Tamil cinema after Moli, is a big name, and he is one of my colleagues in the film. A lot of other actors in the film. The girl who acted is a daughter of one of my co-directors whom I have worked with, Srijita, and that child is very interesting. And Thalevasal Vijay is there, Tanikala Bharani is there. A lot of ensemble of actors, good actors. No, for me, I have nothing like that, because every role demands certain things, and if I'm equipped and if I have understood it right, it just flows. Anything difficult, anything tough doesn't give this. It will make you to get more focused, to do your homework better and come back. It's been very easy, and I have always done all my life, whatever I do, whether it is producing, whether it is directing, whether it is acting, directing now, or writing. I have done always which I have loved, and it has never been, anything has never been tough to me. It's just been a cakewalk. Guhan, yes, because Guhan is a very sensible and interesting cinematographer, and he has done films like Moli and Payanam for us, and he has comes from P.C. Sriram's School of Cinematography, and this was a more middle class film, so I had given him very small spaces to work with, and I did not want a Jimmy Jib because this film doesn't demand, so it was more of lensing the space, and I think he has done a brilliant job, and he has given soul, he has given that that realistic element with his lighting and the way he has lensed the whole thing. See, I can tell a cinematographer what shot I want and what I need from the scene, from the shot, but to lens it and tell it to me that this is the language of the camera and what you want can be given through this lensing is something. He has been a great support to me. And editor Kishore, you know, he has been awarded the national award, very sensible editor, and he was a great support in trying to edit the film with what I had got the footage. Of course, he says that I had given him nothing to edit. He just edited the clapboards because I was very clear with my script. But even then, there is a timing, there is a pause, there is an element of contribution of an editor to, you know, line it in such a way that it doesn't lose its flow and it doesn't lose its reality. She didn't disturb me while I was making my film. That was the greatest contribution. And Kadir is a brilliant art director who did Payanam, Moli, Abhiyum Nanum, and his detailing of a middle class life, whether it could be a sub-registrar's office or the house of this middle class man, his properties with his helmet, with his scooters and papers, and mind-blowing it was. And it's a great contribution because that is something which I wouldn't know. I want this, but the ambience he created was mind-blowing. This is not a question, this is not a solution, it is not a solution-oriented film. It is not about just education system. I mean, it is schools changing, syllabus changing is not an answer to education system. I believe that the perception of education is wrong. How have you perceived it? What do you know of education system? I basically believe if you don't have a proper perception of economy, you make a mistake. If you have no perception of what love is, you make a mistake. If you have a wrong perception of sensuality, you make a mistake. Similarly, we are suffering because we don't have the right perception of what is education. What my question is that if a child, what right do you have to call a child a fool? What right do you have to interview a parent to understand the intelligence of a child? If Abdul Kalam's parents were interviewed, would we have got Abdul Kalam today? It's not that. Every child is unique by its own way, and in a 10 years time of a child's lifetime, if it is spending more time than in a school than at home, where does the system fail to recognize what the child is good in? Where is this perception of education which has failed for parents to understand what the child is good in? Why are we forcing of what we know? It's actually the pressure. We do have wrong perception of the education. Parents are pressured, teachers are pressured, children are pressured. Why is education so difficult? Why is it so painful? Why is the learning process so painful? This is the basic questions of a common man. I'm not trying to be intelligent because I have just documented a beautiful story of a middle class life, and where without their knowledge, there are a lot of other things, preconceived notions which is guiding them into this problem. They are just surviving, and it is high time that we looked into ourselves and understood what is making us getting so. Why are we hitting children? What gives you the right to slap a child? What gives you the right to tell after 10 years just because it is weak in one subject to call it a fool? I don't understand. And that is the question. That is the pain. That is the cry of this film. Well, yeah, a lot of people have been asking that question. But I don't find anything difficult because I have always done a job which I have loved, and it doesn't seem like more. It's just little more work and little more. But honestly, if I have to confess, and it is something that probably after directing, I think I will be a better actor after directing, because I think I have learned how less I have surrendered. Though I have always surrendered to my script, I think they will definitely see a change in Prakash Raj, the actor, after I directed him. It was a revelation to me to see my own role etched from the other angle, because basically as an actor in a film, you're just one of the colors in a painting. You're not the painting, so you will never know how it is blended, how much ever informed you are. And actually you have informed only less as far as your scenes are concerned. But to see it from the other angle and see that how your character or an expression or a dialogue is written and blended, in spite of these many years of experience, it was a different way of looking at myself as an actor. And that was a great journey and a great lesson or a great experience I will carry with me further. No, I don't decide what roles I have to play, because actor is a beggar and he has to do what his role, because he is not the creator. As simple as that. And the duty of an actor is to flow like a river. You don't decide the path. When I'm with myself. Yeah, I just read it in the papers. She has an urge to direct. Why not? No, it's her film. If she wants it, she'll take it. It depends on the script she chooses. Does she need me or not? I would like to be known as Prakash Raj, a soul, a person who did little of everything. Thank you. This is Prakash Raj and you're watching me on Behindwoods.com.